What revelation from Sasha Walpole makes Harry called a disgusting hypocrite? What a disaster. Harry is exposed as a total fraud after being called out by Sasha Walpole. It's disgusting to see how the truth about Harry's past has come to light, revealing his true colors. Welcome back to the disgusting world of royalty and their scandals, brought to you by the Royal Family News Update channel. The life of Sasha Walpole, a working mother of two, has been completely turned upside down because of one silly mistake from over 20 years ago. It's heartbreaking to see her name forever tarnished by a drunken encounter that she probably wishes she could forget. But no, the world had to know about Harry's sexual escapades, and now she will forever be linked to that moment. And of course, it was only a matter of time before she was publicly outed. The media couldn't wait to revel in the scandal, finally getting their big break to show off their investigative skills. But the outcome of this whole situation is sickening, proving that Prince Harry, the supposed champion of truth-telling and manliness, is nothing but a complete and utter hypocrite. According to the Mail on Sunday, Walpole's decision to reveal herself as the woman in question was not motivated by a desire for fame, but rather fear for the real-life repercussions of Harry's decision to include her in his memoir, Spare. Walpole expressed her fear and panic, saying that she constantly worried about the possibility of waking up one morning to a throng of cameras outside her house. The thought of this unknown car driving by made her anxious, and she felt like she was always waiting for the worst to happen. It seems that Walpole's decision to go public was a result of her feeling vulnerable and scared about the potential consequences of Harry's memoir. She wanted to take control of the situation before it spiraled out of control, and it is clear that she would have preferred to remain anonymous. However, Harry's decision to include their encounter in his book has led to a chain of events that has put Walpole in the spotlight. The situation is unfortunate, and it raises questions about whether Harry considered the potential impact his memoir could have on the people involved in his stories. However, now that the truth about his own past has come to light, it does call into question his credibility and the sanctimony with which he has taken this moral high ground. If he is so opposed to the press exposing people's private lives, then why would he choose to include a story in his own memoir that was bound to lead to the public outing of someone else's private life? This double standard raises questions about his own integrity and the authenticity of his message. But now, it seems that the tables have turned. By writing and publishing a book that not only revealed his own intimate personal details, but those of other people as well, Harry has put himself in a position where he is no longer the victim of a predatory media, but rather a willing participant in the very same behavior he once decried. This has led many to question his integrity and his true motives. Ultimately, the events surrounding Spare have shown that the lines between what is private and what is public are not always so clear, and that when it comes to matters of personal privacy and dignity, it is important to consider the impact our actions may have on others, even if we feel that we are justified in sharing our own story. This contrast between advocating for privacy and invading others' privacy in Spare raises questions about the consistency and validity of Harry's stance on privacy. By exposing personal details and potentially embarrassing stories about other members of the royal family, Harry seems to be disregarding the very values he claims to hold. This discrepancy creates a perception of hypocrisy and undermines his credibility as a privacy advocate. It appears that the author is making the point that Harry and Meghan have been vocal about their need for privacy and the protection of their family from the media, but in their recent book Spare, they seem to reveal private details about the royal family without consideration for their privacy. The example given is of the Princess of Wales' behaviour towards Meghan. In the opinion of the writer, William is depicted as hectoring and insecure, while King Charles is portrayed as a disappointing father and a source of humor with his daily handstands and carrying around his childhood teddy bear. This is compared to a character in the novel Brideshead Revisited. Prince Harry rebuffed Tom Bradby when he pointed out the fact that his portrayal of his family in his recent interviews was uncomfortable. Harry's argument was that his family had been briefing the press for over a decade, so it was not surprising that him telling his own story was upsetting to some people. The writer is pointing out that Harry's approach in the book Spare is contradictory and inconsistent. On the one hand, Harry preaches about the need for privacy and protection from the press, but on the other hand, he reveals private and personal information about his family in the book. The writer argues that Harry can't have it both ways, as he can't criticize his family for sharing information about him while also sharing information about them. In Harry's view, the inner workings of the royal family are flawed and dominated by a competition for good press. This creates a climate where self-interest takes priority over family, leading to individuals climbing over each other for good media coverage. Harry sees this as unsavory and unseemly behavior. It seems that the same behavior that Harry criticizes in the royal family is being replicated by himself and Meghan. The timing of their interview with Oprah and the announcement of Harry's autobiography, while Prince Philip was dying and the Queen was grieving, raises questions about their own actions and motives. The hypocritical behavior undermines Harry's claims of a better approach and calls into question his stance on the issues he raises. According to recent reports, the constant ambushing of the royal family by Harry and Meghan has had an impact on Queen Elizabeth's health and contributed to her stress in her final year. These reports suggest that the Queen was affected by the allegations made by the Sussexes and that their actions, such as the Netflix docu-series and the autobiography, took a toll on her. It is suggested that these actions, taken at a time when the Queen was grieving the loss of her husband and potentially battling cancer, could have waited until she had passed away. It appears that Harry's approach to privacy and exploiting his own life story is contradictory. On one hand, he wants to protect his privacy and shield his family from the media, but on the other hand, he seems to be engaging in similar behavior by exploiting his own story through interviews, documentaries, and a book. This creates a sense of inconsistency in Harry's approach and raises questions about his motivations. It appears that there is a certain level of hypocrisy in Harry's actions. He criticizes the media and the royal family for exploiting him, but he himself is not above profiting from his own story and using his fame to his advantage. He seems to have different standards for himself compared to others. It seems that there is a double standard when it comes to who can share personal information and who cannot. If the situation was reversed and the other person revealed their intimate moment with a prince, they would be criticized and judged harshly. This double standard highlights the unequal treatment of individuals in the public eye and raises questions about privacy and personal autonomy. How dare he? Harry thinks he's above the same standards that he so readily accuses others of? He has lived in the public eye for decades and knows the media machine all too well. Yet he had the audacity to put a woman's privacy in jeopardy by discussing his sexual encounters in his autobiography. And what about the harm he has caused to his own family? Did he not think about the impact his truth-telling would have on his grandmother, grandfather, brother, sister-in-law, or even his nieces and nephews? Does he have no regard for those around him and their well-being? The gall of him thinking he can do whatever he pleases without any consequences is outrageous. It's outrageous that Harry has now forever tarnished the image of his family members, including William, Meghan, and their children, by publicly airing their private disputes. Did he not once consider the long-lasting impact his revelations could have on them? Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis will now grow up reading about their father's supposed bullying and their mother's supposed coldness. And after a month of these shocking revelations, what have we discovered? The royal family is a dysfunctional group, fueled by ego and a desperate desire to win the PR game, regardless of the harm it may cause to those they claim to care about. It seems like the saying is true, the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree in this case.